An appropriate adjustment is known under different names in different jurisdictions. In the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, they use the phrase reasonable accommodation. In the UK, it's reasonable adjustment. But it's the same idea in all cases. It's about making small changes that enable somebody with a disability to avail of a service or to participate in employment. The essential aim of reasonable accommodation or appropriate adjustment is to remove unnecessary barriers for people with disabilities. One of the key points of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities is that people with disabilities are often hampered in their ability to participate because services and work systems are not designed with people with disabilities in mind. However, it is possible to make minor changes that will enable people with disabilities to participate, and more often than not, those changes are inexpensive. For example, the Jobs Accommodation Network in the United States has been monitoring reasonable accommodation in the employment context for the past 25 years by the use of employer surveys. In 2018, 59% of employers said that the accommodations they provided cost nothing. 36% experienced a one-time cost, and the median report of those costs was $500, which is, in today's exchange rate, 400 UK pounds. About 3% had an ongoing annual cost, and 1% had experience of both. So again, practice shows that reasonable adjustments or reasonable accommodations are inexpensive. They often involve small adjustments, but they have a significant impact on the ability of a person with a disability to participate. The legal duty is fairly straightforward and it is tried and tested. It can be broken down into two elements. The first part is that any adjustment must be both necessary and appropriate. So necessary means that if somebody clearly does not require that particular accommodation, then you have absolutely no legal duty to provide it. Appropriate means it must be appropriate to the needs and it must address the particular situation and meet that person's needs. The second big limitation is that the employer or the business cannot be required to do something if it would amount to a disproportionate burden. Now, this can't be an overly onerous financial or other burden on the employer or the service provider. This duty is entirely sensitive to the needs of businesses. So, for example, you might expect that the States of Guernsey would be required to provide more in the terms of reasonable accommodation than any small private employer. It is a well-established test, and it is not hard to apply in practice. And in reality, many adjustments cost little or nothing, and they're likely to have a significant impact on the lives and working lives of people with disabilities, and also make a significant difference for any employer who values their staff. This is really about a change in mindset.